as a leader of your organization, and in the current climate that we're in, where there's such a challenge with having talent in your organization to attract, to retain, and to even nurture, organizations uh, are facing a challenge. And as a leader, you may be facing that challenge as well. And if we haven't met before, my name is Fahim Karim, and I'm an employee engagement expert. And I work with companies that are growing, that are purpose driven, and I help them in creating a safe container where everyone gets to vocalize their opinions and their ideas. The employees feel part of the team. Your managers get to listen and lead, and your company continues to grow and innovate. So if you're watching this live right now, please put in the comments, where are you signing in from? Where are you joining us from? And what are some of the challenges you're seeing in your organization when it comes to employee engagement, especially when it comes to giving feedback or even receiving feedback? Because that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to give feedback the right way. Feedback is one of the things that I look at is that causes employee disengagement. At the same time, feedback, if it's done right, it can also cause employees to become highly engaged and be very productive and very involved in your organization. And as leaders, oftentimes we struggle with that. Some of the clients I've worked with, I try to provide that feedback, and I've seen the benefit it has brought to them, making them more aware of things, slight changes in communication, giving the right tools, and what a big difference it makes to them when they're leading their teams. And someone who has lived in 4 different continents and in different cultures, I've also worked in a billion-dollar company that I was exposed to working with teams across the globe. I understand how important these small nuances are when it comes to giving feedback. And trust me, it makes such a big difference. And I'll give you an example. This is an example of a person who's the owner or the manager of an hotel, and he walks up to the reception desk just to see if how is the people at the reception desk working, and he notices that this particular person was sitting behind the desk on a table and had a newspaper open in front of him and had a cup of tea next to him. So this kind of made him upset. The manager of the hotel became upset, thinking rather than standing at the desk and waiting for people to show up or to do something more productive, this person is just sitting and having tea. And what resulted is that negative feeling was verbalized. So the manager said, what's going on? How come you're just sitting and reading newspaper? And this employee happened to be one of the most engaged workers they had. So the employee said, actually, I was just looking up something for a customer of ours in the newspaper. He was wondering about that was happening in our local community, and he also ordered a tea, so I was going to take it upstairs to his room. Before I went there, I wanted to quickly look up this one ad or this particular information that he needed so I can give it to him. So you can only imagine the expression or the feeling that hotel manager felt. Oh my God, this is my number. This is really ideally the kind of employee you want to appreciate and celebrate. And I've just, caused this person to feel really hurt simply because of the way how I spoke. Now, that's why when it comes to giving feedback, these small nuances are very, very important. And as somebody who, I really study these things in great detail, I want to share with you some basic tools that you can use. For example, sometimes we have this misconception as leaders that when it comes to giving feedback, it needs to be brief and short and straight to the point. Well, that's okay if you're talking to a computer. That's okay if you're doing computer programming, but we're human. Just imagine if your wife cooked you a food, amazing meal, and you just happen to not like the level of the taste of the salt. So rather than just saying to the wife, this food is just not enough salt, how do you think your evening is going to go? Right? So why should it be any different for your employees? Instead, if the husband says, honey, this food is so amazing, I love it. If there was, I think just a little bit of pinch of salt would have made this like the amazing dish of all time I've had, right? So same message, just a few extra words. So when it comes to giving feedback, please be generous with the words. Don't be like, I need to be straight, I need to be brief, I need to be straight to the point. It doesn't work for most people. We're human. We need to have compassion. So that's number one. Be generous with your words. Number two is make an excuse for the person. Like, don't embarrass the person in front of everyone simply because of our choice of words. Right? So for example, let's say I'm working with my technology team, and as a product manager, I'm expecting them to deliver something, and they're telling me that they can deliver it within a very short period of window, or within a particular time frame that I don't think is realistic. Especially because they're not asking for the budget, or they're not asking for additional resources, and I feel like they will need that if they need to deliver this within that certain time frame. So rather than saying, I think there's something wrong with the delivery date you're providing. Are you really sure about this? You didn't. I really doubt that you can deliver this, and you didn't even show me any numbers to financial numbers, how you're going to deliver that. So rather than saying it that way, a better way of saying it, I really am very happy that you were able to deliver it in such a short time, but I'm worried that maybe we have created such a high pressure for you that you may be feeling that you need to deliver within that certain time, and maybe we didn't, maybe we have constrained your budget so much that you're maybe not comfortable asking for finances, and I just want to make sure that's not the case, that you may need to make this delivery realistic, right? So this way you're showing compassion to the person while giving that feedback, rather than just blurting it out. I don't think this is realistic. I don't know how you're going to make it. Make an excuse for the person. Maybe we have limited you with resources that perhaps because of which you couldn't, ask for additional budgets, or you're not comfortable. But I want you to know that, please, if you think that is needed, let us know that, because we don't want to, put so much pressure on you that you might feel that the pressure to have to commit to something that may or may not be realistic based on the constraints that you have. So that's number two. Number three, when it comes to feedback, is to take into consideration each person in your team. As a leader, we oftentimes have bias towards certain people, right? And especially when it comes to having people from different culture in your team. As somebody who's a minority in the culture I reside in, I've seen this firsthand, and also have learned this from others. And also research shows that oftentimes the cultural biases exist within the different teams, and as a leader, that's something we need to be mindful of. So, for example, let's say I'm a white person, I'm a white manager, and I have a person from Asia on one side of my team. Let's say is Jackie, and on the left side is John, right? And Jackie just proposed an amazing idea, but simply because of maybe the body language or the tone of the voice, I just say like, interesting. Okay, Jackie, thank you. John, what do you have to say? Well, Fahim, I think this needs to be done in this particular way, and if we do it this way, it's going to happen. Same exact thing Jackie said, John has said, and I'm like, that's great. It's a brilliant idea, John. Let's go with that. What did I just do? One of my most talented employee, Jackie, is now feeling, I just said the same thing, Fahim, but you just didn't even listen to what I had to say. Why is that? Because I'm not aware, I'm not conscious about my own biases as that white leader or that, from a different culture. So when giving feedback, be mindful of that. Like, okay, I need to be aware of my own things that I may be biased towards. How do I counter that? Let me really listen to what they have to say and not just listen based on my own perception, but actually truly listen what is the person saying. And if I don't understand, let me ask for clarification and then provide the feedback. You know what? I really like that idea, what you're saying, Jackie. That makes sense. Thank you. How can we make it happen? So those are the three things I really wanted to share. It was going to make a big difference. So I would love to hear from you. What are some of the challenges you're facing in your organization when it comes to giving feedback? I would love for you to please share that in the comments here in the Facebook, and also follow us in the Facebook business page so that you don't miss any of the latest tips and strategies I have to share with you. Also in our YouTube page, I'll put a link there. If you go to that link, I have a whole playlist on how to give feedback the right way. And in the weekly video I did, I covered some of the basic things that we need to take into consideration as leaders when giving feedback. Number one of them, it has to do with making sure the person feels really cared for, right? And that is important, and that's where the compassion part comes in, making excuse for the person before jumping into conclusion when giving maybe a harsh feedback, which needs to be mindful of. Number one is showing care. Number two is respect, and these are not in particular order, but does the person respect me when I'm giving this feedback? Have I earned this person's respect? And what can I do to earn this person's respect? And of course, please take a look at that playlist and you'll find more amazing resources there. So as the leader of your organization, if you are facing challenges, maybe in the past you've had a difficult moment giving feedback and you're now listening to this and you're thinking, oh, I wish I had done that. I just want you to know it's not the end of the world. Really, the nice thing about employee engagement, you can start to engage your employees from today. And these small changes that you make in the interactions with your team, when it especially comes to giving feedback, you will start to see the difference. And believe me, your team will notice that difference. And they will be like, there's something different about him this time. I really like the way he showed me respect. I really like the way he cared. He showed care, and I want to would love to contribute more, because employees they don't get up in the morning, and teams, they don't get up in the morning and say, you know what, I just want to be disengaged. That is not what people aim to do every day when they show up at work. They really would like to be involved. However, as leaders and as their coaches, it's our honor and our obligation to, as a leader, to develop the talent. So if you like what you heard today, go ahead and follow us on Facebook, and so that you don't miss out on any of the latest tips and strategies that I have to share with you. Until then, my friend, wishing you a wonderful week. And till we meet next time, God willing, tread softly, speak kindly, and love unconditionally.